Hello, everyone. Welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 394. Happy day after Valentine's Day, the best day, because the day after Valentine's Day is when all the Valentine's Day candy goes on sale. So I titled this podcast something like, well, something relating to Valentine's Day candy. I could look up and see what I titled the podcast. What am I calling this? Valentine's Day candy sale. Okay, well, so I titled the podcast and I said, I'm going to go to the store and buy some candy. If you saw last year's Valentine's Day show, I had bought some interesting little candies that I found at Sprouts or somewhere and gave them a taste test. And I was thinking about doing the same thing. Well, I went out to Trader Joe's, Sprouts, and Vaughn's. No candy. Well, there was some candy, but nothing real interesting. I thought at the very least I'd be able to find some cherry cordials because those are my favorite. Those are those chocolate chocolate covered cherries with liquefied fondant. Oh, those are good. Couldn't find any of those. I mean, there was stuff in the candy. I could have bought a bag of M&Ms, but that's not very Valentine's-y. Yeah, there was just nothing interesting there. But I had already titled the podcast, so I bought this. It's pink and red and white and it's got hearts on it, so it's Valentine's-y. Um, I I I think it's just a giant cookie. I think that's what this is. I think it's just a really big cookie. Um, which smells good. Which reminds me of when I was quite young, probably still in the single digit ages. I was making cookies with my sister and my mommy, and the way we knew how to make cookies was drop cookies. You made the batter, and then you scooped up little balls of the batter, and you dropped it on a baking sheet, and you spaced them out so they didn't mush into each other. And then you baked them in the oven. So I said, Mother, what would happen if we just slathered cookie dough all over the baking sheet? Just made one big cookie. And our mother said, try it. Which, to her credit, I think was a really good call as a parent. I have no doubt in my mind she knew exactly what was going to happen, but that's not the point. It's one, fun, and two, well, rewarding curiosity, I suppose, and also a teaching experience. It's that child is doing science. He gonna learn something. So I got all the batter and I plopped it out on got a spatula or a knife or something and spread it out evenly on the baking sheet and cooked it. And you know what happened? Well, if you're older than 8, you probably know exactly what happened. You had a sheet of cookie that was cooked pretty well on the edges and was pretty raw in the center. Not the best giant cookie, but it did teach a baking lesson. I think so. It's one of the things I haven't actually thought about that in quite a while. But anyway, this looks like a pretty evenly cooked cookie. If it is a cookie, I have no idea if there's anything under it. Let's find out. Oh, this was $13, if you were wondering. Pretty expensive cookie. But, I usually buy like $15 of Valentine's Day crap, so yeah. Looks like it's just a big ass cookie. All right. Let's give this a try. Keyboard out of the way. All right. I came prepared, so can I angle this down enough? No, here we go. I can see what I'm doing. All right. Mm-hmm. I I can't tell you how long it's been since I've actually used my pizza cutter. Hey, what's the last thing you used your pizza cutter for? A giant cookie? Now, the one thing I'm pretty certain about is the this frosting crap. I'm probably not going to want that. That that's probably not going to be to my taste. All right. So, eh, come on. Don't make me get a spatula. Here. Okay. There we go. Perfect. First try. All right. Jared, Lindy, Sean, hello everyone. Jared says, I like those. Lindy says, hello, that's a cookie? I thought it was a cake. I wasn't sure what it was when I bought it. For those who came late, I went shopping for some on sale Valentine's candy, and there was none. There was I couldn't even find any like Queen Anne's cherry cordials, which I love so much. Um, Not necessarily the brand, although the brand is fine. I just like cherry cordials. So I looked for interesting Valentine's Day candies, and there just weren't any. So I bought this giant friggin' cookie, which was not on sale. But that's okay. I'm fortunate to have a pretty good job where I can splurge on a giant cookie now and then. Sean says, I love those giant cookies. I never buy them because, like you said, too expensive. Yeah, $12.99 plus tax. Pretty expensive giant cookie. But, well, let's see how they did. I'd have cooked that a bit more. I mean, it seems really... Let's try the crust. Yeah. That's a little bit better. I still think the whole thing should have been cooked more. So it's a little personal taste kind of thing. It does make it like, super soft. But this is a bit doughy for my taste. It's still a cookie. I think they should have cooked it more. All right. Let's get the little frosting bit. Mm. Ooh, that's sweet. Yep, that's just frosting. Ah. Oh, I've never been a big frosting fan. Like if I was ever at a birthday party and someone had a cake, like I'd have a slice of cake to celebrate your birthday, but if it's got that if it's got like those giant flowers, like, just the big goops of frosting on there, I'm gonna scrape that off. That's just I love junk food. Don't get me wrong, obviously, but yeah, that frosting stuff, not for me. So yeah, I thought it might be a matter of it was just unevenly cooked, like it was raw in the center and cooked properly on the outside, like when I tried to make a giant cookie when I was 8 years old or whatever. But no, a little bit more cooked towards the edge as you'd expect. But no, that's just a choice. I I personally would have cooked this a little bit more, but still cooking. Ah, you know what? Yeah. The problem with making baking, cookies and cakes and stuff is I don't mind doing it, and I've streamed myself baking cakes and stuff before, but when you live alone, it's kind of hard to justify baking because it's really difficult to bake for one person, right? Particularly since I started working from home. I used to, like on the holidays, I'd make a lot of cookies and then I'd just bring most of them into work, right? Can't do that now. I mean, I'd have to have it. Headquarters is in San Francisco. That's not driving distance. Um, Pardon me. But it might be interesting to give giant cookie another try. But I mean, it's like, gotta buy a whole bag of flour, gotta buy a thing of sugar, gotta granulated sugar and brown sugar, gotta buy a bunch of butter. It's like now I have a bunch of flour and sugar and butter left over. What am I gonna do? Make more cookies? you know? Um, eh. Oh, woe is me, because I live alone. Let's see. Sean says, I bought a bag of jelly beans for 13 bucks the other. I hope that's a big bag of jelly beans. Good gracious. The other day, and I don't regret it. It had 49 flavors. Wow. Remember when I did, what were they called? Bean Boozled? Those jelly beans with all the different flavors, but half of them are regular fruit flavors, and half of them, it's like, this tastes like dog poop, and this, or dog food. This tastes like grass clippings. This tastes like moldy socks or something. It was one of the things I did for Extra Life, and it was a bad idea. It was such a bad idea. Oh, those are really disgusting. Like, especially the dog food one, which I think I got like 3 times. And I remember my sister and I think Super Metal Dave was over here at the time too. And I was sitting here, on camera, and they were sitting over on the couch, and they were like, "Oh my god, I can smell that from here." Big 2-pound bag, yeah. Jared says, "Big cookies designed that way. I like it that way." Yeah, I'm not saying they. To be clear, I'm not saying that the Vaughn's Bakery did a poor job with the cookie. That's how it's in. I have no doubt that this is how it's intended. It's just a personal taste for me. Me personally, I'd prefer another, maybe another 2 minutes on that cookie. Actually, because of the size of the cookie, it would probably be longer than that. So they're probably lowering the temperature and just cooking it longer. So it'd probably need like another 4 minutes. But happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I hope you found some really good candy. All right, so let's see. What's next on the list? Oh, so I've been using Yahoo email as my personal email for like 25 years or so. Some years ago, Yahoo says, "Hey, we've got a new version of Yahoo Mail. We've got a new layout. And it's so badass. You're gonna love it." And I imagine them doing something really embarrassing and stupid like that, right? To make everyone go, "What are you doing? What is this? Do you think that's cool? Do you think that's something the kids do?" Pretty sure it's not. And even if it is, don't do that, right? But they always had a switch to classic mail, which I always pressed because their redesigns were bad, objectively terrible. And here's how I measure that. If it takes more clicks in your redesign to do the same thing, to perform the same action, you done it wrong. That's one of the ways I measure the success of a site redesign. Take an action, count the number of clicks it takes to perform it. Does it take more clicks to do it in the redesign? Then it's a bad choice. Well, yesterday or the day before, Yahoo says, "Hey, for several years you've been insisting on classic view. We're taking that option away from you now. Now you have to have the modern Yahoo Mail view. Thanks. I hate it. Not because I'm resistant to change. I'm just resistant to bad change. Change for the worse." You see, first of all, the primary color is a garish, eye-searing purple. I don't personally have a problem with the color purple. I've never seen that movie. It's a fine color. But this particular hue and saturation level of purple makes my retinas cry out in anguish. No, please stop, it hurts. The color, it burns us. It's a bad color choice, in my humble opinion. That's subjective, though. Maybe some people think it's this incredibly high contrast, bright purple color is really attractive. Maybe it's just me. But some of the other changes they've made are now the icons, or rather the buttons that you click to do stuff, like delete an email, they're now smaller by about 50%, which makes them harder to click. Are they using the saved space for something else? No. No, the buttons are just smaller now. So the way I have it, I have my emails in a on the left side of the screen, stacked one on top of the other. And you can see who it's from, what the subject is, and then on the right side, there was a button. Let me visual aid it real quick. Okay, so can you see the... Oh, there we go. So let's pretend this is my email. This is just text messages on my phone. Let's angle that. There you go. That red button on the right is the delete button. So if I wanted to delete that top email, I just hit the red button, right? Cool. So Yahoo, in its infinite wisdom, just decided to make that button smaller. It now only takes the upper 50% of that line. What's below it? Just empty space now. It's just harder to hit the button now. Hey! Have you memorized where every button is? I certainly hope so. Have you memorized what all of the icons mean? Certainly hope so. Because they removed all of the button labels. Now they're just the icons, which also makes the buttons smaller. Again, is the saved space used for anything? No. No, it's not. It's just smaller. Now, for some of the icons, there's some pretty universal icons, like the trash can. That's clearly the delete button. That's fine, but what about the spam button? Like, I'm trying to think on the top of my head, what actually is the spam button? It's not a can of spam. I'm not even sure. I have to go look now. Let's see. It is... I'm not even sure what that shape is supposed to be. It's like an epsilon or something with an X in it. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. One button is an envelope with like an asterisk on the upper corner. No idea what that's supposed to do. Oh, that's mark as unread. Now, to be clear, there is alt text on all these buttons, so you can hover over the button to see what it does. Thank goodness. And with all this extra space, they added an ellipsis menu, which contains more buttons, like archive, print, view raw message, block sender, add sender to contacts. I don't know why, because you've got all this space now. Now that you've taken the text off of the button, they take less space. So why did you put 5 of the buttons, 5, was it 5? 5 of the buttons in a collapsible menu? Also, on the left side of the screen is a column. inbox, starred, sent, drafts, folders, and then an ellipsis, which contains, among other things, my spam folder. But the archive, spam folder, the trash. Um, I don't know why, because inbox, starred, sent, drafts, and folders only takes up maybe 20% of that column. I don't know why they collapsed spam into its own submenu. But now to check spam, which I need to nearly daily because stuff I want gets filtered into spam all the damn time. Now it takes more clicks to get there. Now I have to open a subfolder to get to my spam folder to see if stuff's in there. So this redesign is objectively worse, and I don't like it. But I also don't pay for Yahoo Mail, so oh well. Such is life. You know, in the grand scheme of things, it's really not a big deal, but I am continuously flummoxed by what I see as completely boneheaded decisions that I just can't imagine anyone thinking is a good idea. And sometimes I'm like, all right. It's not for me. They're doing this somehow to maximize profit for themselves, and this accomplishes that goal by I'm really not sure. I try to, all right, I am a greedy business. I want more money than the plenty I have already. I don't care about the users of my product. They're not my customer. All I want to do is generate more wealth. How does this crappy redesign facilitate that? Not sure. I don't know. I imagine it's shitty because it serves Yahoo's purposes somehow. I mean, it could be something like, shitty, isn't it? Well, if you pay us money, you can unlock the elite Yahoo Mail service for 20 bucks a month or whatever, and it sucks less. Maybe that's what it is. But I'm not but I have an ad blocker so I don't see the ad. and I'm and I'm not interested in paying for my email, so um maybe it's that. I don't know. Chaos. It wasn't broke, so they decided to fix it. Yeah. In Google, it's an octagon with an exclamation point. I forgot what it was again. The spam folder. Yeah, I think a big can of spam or something. Yeah. Talking about Outlook. No. Yahoo. Yeah. Oh, you got it. Okay. I use Outlook for work. Outlook is fine. It's perfectly serviceable. It's just it's the thing is Outlook is a everything solution, so it has to have everything in it, so it becomes a bit much, right? Like for my personal email, like I don't use the calendar. I don't use it as an address book, although it does have that functionality. It's it's literally just a digital mailbox for me. It's no different from an actual physical mailbox. I open the mailbox, I get the mail out, I read it. If I need to send something, I put mail in. That's really all I use it for. You know, it's like my phone. It's a watch. It's what I use my phone for. Just checking the time. That's mostly all I and talking to my sister. Um, because seriously, I have this thing set up so that unless you're in my contacts, you can't ring through. You cannot contact me unless your number is in my contacts. If you're not in my contacts, I don't want to hear from you. If you really want to get a hold of me, you probably have another way to reach out to me, like social media or um, email or something. Uh, Haven't heard the name Yahoo in a long time. Yeah, it's just what I think when I think I set it up in college. Just because I didn't have email and I needed one and it was free, so whatever. Um, I still know people who older than me. I don't know anyone my age or younger, but I know some people at least 10 years older than me that still have AOL addresses. And I'm like, does it still say you've got mail? And I don't remember if they said yes or not. Making it mobile friendly, maybe? I mean, that might be it. They may have consolidated the mobile version and the desktop version. It's easier to manage one set of buttons than two. Like they can't have the wider full named buttons on mobile, and they don't want to maintain two sets of buttons. It's probably something along those lines. Yeah. Okay, I'm still rocking the Hotmail account. All right. I actually do have a Gmail account. I never use it though. It's mainly the sign up for stuff account so all the spam can go over there. I have no idea what's in it. I don't know what's going on with it. Um, so where did I put my there we go. Okay, so let's talk about Monster Hunter Wilds because I played a little bit more of it yesterday, I think. And I saw some footage from some YouTube creator on YouTube, which is usually where you see footage from YouTube creators of the beta, um, and it looked terrible. It was like really gray and washed out. And at first I'm like, oh, it's the sandstorm. And then I looked at him like, no, that's yellow grass. That's the time of plenty. What? Why does their footage look like ass? Was there an update? Is it? And I turned on my copy of the game. I'm like, no, looks fine. And I started browsing YouTube, and I was just checking different channels who had, apparently Capcom had hosted a bunch of Monster Hunter enthusiasts uh, some weeks back. They did invite me. I mean, Leslie and Bob are a huge fixture of the Monster Hunter community. I don't know why they were left in the cold, but I checked out some of these channels, just spot check some of them, and it appears, and I want to be clear, I'm not being critical of the content. Like, they're fine. I didn't watch much of it. I was just, spot checking some footage. And I'm sure they're all very great content creators and have wonderful personalities and really funny insights and observations, and are, some are probably speedrunners and all kinds of cool stuff. No problem with the creators themselves or how they do their stuff. But it appears to me that several of them, in their justifiable enthusiasm to play Monster Hunter Wilds right the hell now, they did not go into the menu and adjust the brightness settings. Because holy shit, does their footage look terrible. I've been kind of curious about Capcom's decision to do a second beta test using the same code from the beta test last November, which was roundly criticized for not running great. And they said, "Hey, we know it's just a beta test. We're still working out kinks. Even the beta tests that were this is back in November now. They're like, this code that we're doing, this is based on a build from months back, but we just want to put it out there because we want to share some of the ideas with you and get some feedback and see how things are working." And in the weeks following that first beta test, they're like, we got a lot of great feedback, and some of the stuff that you guys brought up, we've already fixed, and we got ideas for, we're tightening up the frame rate, and we're doing all kinds of stuff, blah, 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 wet balancing. Cool. And so a couple of weeks before launch, they do another beta test, and it has none of the fixes in it, which is a choice. And, in some cases, an understandable choice, because it's a lot quicker and easier and less resource intensive to just add two monsters to the beta rather than recompiling an entire new beta. I get that. But we're 3 weeks out for now 2 weeks out from Monster Hunter Wilds. 3? When the hell does it come out? Where's my mouse? It's the 28th, right? So 2 weeks. Yeah, just under 2 weeks. Yeah, comes out on a Friday. Don't games usually come out on Tuesdays? Yeah, whatever. So you've got a beta that's not showing the game in the best light, and you've got a lot of YouTubers showing off the game not in the best light. I don't own stock in Capcom, right? I don't know anyone who works there. I don't make money off of the franchise. I have no stake in this. I just find it kind of curious that a lot of the decisions Capcom is making is I'm sure the game's going to do just fine, but it's odd to me that they're making so many decisions that don't present the game in the best light. Right? You would think that if Capcom had invited all these people out to wherever their offices are, I'm sure they've got them in different places. I don't think they flew everyone out to Japan. They would have said, okay, you've got 4 or 5 hours to go play the game. You can have all the footage, but we have a list of things. You can't talk about this monster. You can't talk about this mechanic. Right? You're here as a guest. In exchange for some early access, we ask you to, follow these guidelines when doing our PR for us. Thank you. You'd think on that list somewhere would be calibrate your goddamn display correctly and calibrate your goddamn capture software correctly, because we don't want you presenting our game with it being like washed out in gray. Please don't make our game look like ass. I think the funniest thing I saw one creator who clearly noticed that the footage looked like not great and had tried to correct it in their editing software, and I guess just kind of boosted the contrast, and oh my god, it looks so bad. I laugh. It's like, I get it. I'm not a video guy either. Clearly, I can't get the lighting in here right. But if I were running a multi-million-dollar company, and I were on the eve of launching a multi-million-dollar gaming franchise, the next entry in a multi-million-dollar gaming franchise, I'd probably, at least consider, and maybe it was considered and just vetoed. It's too expensive. But I'd be like, okay, before we unleash you on Wilds, we're just gonna take 20 minutes to give you all a crash course in, here's the options menu, here's the display. You see this little slider? Right. You're gonna move that until the picture on the left is barely visible. You know that thing that you just button through? The first thing that comes up when you turn on the game, please adjust the slider so that the display is correct. Okay. Here's a bunch of common capture cards that you're probably using. If you're using HDR, please turn on HDR in the capture card software. Either turn off, if it doesn't support HDR, turn it off at the source, or this is how you adjust for it. Take 20 minutes. It would really help. Because, man, some of the game footage out there looks like butt. It really, really does. Hey, Chicago. ETH says, public demos, and it's a demo, use stable old code. Code's not that stable. It's old, but it's, it's not terrible, but frame rate's not great. It's not a shit show. It's fine. But it's been a few months since the last beta. It would be nice if all of the changes that they've bragged about were actually in there. Oh well. I think, to me, I think the bigger problem is a lot of their fan community who they invited out to play the game for a few hours, um, they're content creators, not necessarily audio video files. They know enough to capture footage and upload it to YouTube and edit it, but they don't know, and understandably so. I don't either. It's something you either have to teach yourself or go take classes on or something, to figure out the hue, saturation, contrast, brightness, all that good stuff to make the video image look correct. And I've seen a bunch of footage out there that just looks really, really bad. To the point where I was like, I had to turn on my copy of the game. I'm like, no, it looks fine. I'm like, why is that? And I went into the settings. I started playing around with that little slider. I'm like, okay. If it's on default, yeah, that's what it looks like on default. Also, why is the default game looks like shit? I mean, I suppose it's different. I'm sure on some displays with the slider being in the center, that looks great on some TVs. But it's kind of like when I bought this new TV, all of the settings made it look like the worst possible thing it could possibly look. It's like they're selling this TV with look like butt settings. I don't know why they do that. And I thought actually maybe live sports looks really good like that. It's probably why they do it. Um, Wrong term. Currently, Monster Hunter Wilds is both the top ranked wish listed and first seller on Steam. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I'll have a little story about actually playing the beta here in a second. By stable, I mean doesn't repeatedly crash. Oh, okay. Yeah. The PlayStation 5 version last week immediately crashed. Well, not immediately. Like, I did I did the character creator. I did the opening cutscene where you're on the bird and you're dodging the graboids, and then you fight Chatacabra. No. You dodge the graboids, and then you go to camp, and Alma's like, hey, pick a weapon so you can go beat the hell out of the frog monster. And I turned around and the game just crashed. It crashed right out of the game. I'm like, huh, don't see that on consoles too much. I'll just play it tomorrow. And then the PSN went down the next day. So, but yeah, other than that, it's running fine. So, yeah, it's running the same. Gets a little, depends on your rig. Like, on PlayStation 5, it runs pretty okay as long as you're not in the town. That seems to be the hardest part for the game, at least on the old code. So on PC, kind of depends on your rig. Demon says, I'm surprised they didn't set up their own capture set and just drop the box video to each creator. Yeah, I'm not sure what the setup was. I've just noticed a lot of the footage. Like my understanding is they brought a bunch of people to a place to capture footage. I would think that the televisions they set up were calibrated correctly, and so was their capture software. Maybe I've got this wrong, and Capcom's whoever they hired to set up bring a bunch of people in to play the game didn't know how to set shit up, and they gave everyone files that just looked like ass, and most people don't know how to fix it. So I mean, I don't. I saw one that definitely tried though, and said, well, this is what we got from Capcom, it's what we've got to go with. So could be that too. And if that is, then my point still remains. This is the thing you're trying to sell. You want it to look as good as possible. It was all captured on PS5s. All the how about that? All right. Let's see. So I was playing the game yesterday, and for some dumb reason, I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to... What the game wants you to do, one of the big things about Monster Hunter Wilds is some of the monsters roam in packs. So Doshiguma is that big, ugly bear monster, the big, hairy bear thing. That sucker runs in a pack. It's usually the alpha and two not alphas. And so what you're supposed to do is dung bomb the non-alphas so that they go away so you can concentrate on the alpha. And I said, nah, I don't hold balls of poop in my hand. I just had these nails manicured. I'm not manhandling poop. I'm gonna fight all three of these sons of gunses at the same time. So that's what I did. I stubbornly refused to dung bomb them, and I tried taking on the Alpha Doshiguma and its two non-alphas simultaneously. And let me tell you, this is not like the Great Jaggy being surrounded by non-Great Jaggies, right? These are not small monsters that die in like two hits. No, the non-alpha Doshagama are damn near as healthy, as in like they have the same number of HP and hit just about as hard. They are tough. It's essentially you know the arena quests, some of them are like you've got two monsters to deal with at once. It's like that, just three monsters to deal with at once. But because I am an excellent gamer and Bob was there to help me, I was holding my own and I did really, really well. Although I think all in all, it took me like 40 minutes to kill all three of them. Um, so there I was, fighting three giant hairy beasts, swinging my hammer around, which is a weapon I'm new to, so I didn't really know how to play it that well. Bonking them on the heads. When suddenly, basically, whichever way I turn, I've got this big fuzzy bear in my face. And then the sandstorm kicks up, so I can't see a damn thing. There's snarling fuzzy bear. There's sandstorm over here. Everywhere I look, everything's obscured. I can't see a damn thing. Occasionally, we got packs of small monsters going like, excuse me, going through a big sandstorm. We get lightning strikes. We're gonna go over here. You guys have fun. It's like, guys, get out of my way. We're kind of busy here. Go around. And then suddenly, we all exploded and went flying. And I was like, did we just get struck by lightning? Like, I know that's a thing. There are lightning strikes during that sandstorm, and I know monsters and you can get struck by lightning, but it should be essentially chip damage. It should just, knock you on your ass for a moment and 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 just take a little bit of health away. No, we all went flying. And as Leslie's charred, sizzling corpse lay in the sand, I swung the camera around, and there was Ray Dow, setting its horns back to non-kill you mode. I'm like, what the hell, man? Ray Dow, who's the big lightning dragon, the apex of that area, I guess was like trying to take a nap or something, and we were just being too loud, because the son of a bitch just flew over to the plains where we were fighting and just curb stomped all of us with its big super lightning attack. I was like, Jesus, dude, sorry, we'll keep it down. All right, man, damn. It's those little emergent stories that are some of the best parts of Monster Hunter. Let's see. Jared says, I have 1080 and can run it at mid to high at 30 FPS, and I'm happy. If it were better optimized, could probably push 60. Yeah, I did the benchmark on the PC just out of curiosity. And at 4K settings, it usually runs a little under 40 frames per second. It's usually around like 37, 38. Except when you get into town, and then it drops somewhere between 10 and 15. So I think if I were going to play, I'm going to play on PS5, but if I were to play it on PC, it looks like if I played it in 1080, it would be just fine. But I can play it in 4K as long as I stay out of town. So, was I brave enough to try Arkveld? I didn't see Arkveld. I did see the Gypsaros while I was taking care. I had killed one of the. I killed a non-alpha, then I killed the alpha, then I killed the other non-alpha. And the non-alphas, they have 3 carves. I don't know why I did that. 3 carves too. So it's essentially fighting 3 alphas. I didn't see much difference between the alpha and non-alpha, but I had killed one of them. and I was fighting the two remaining, and I had hammered one of them in the face, and he rolls over and it's like, oh hell, ouch, ouchie, my nose. And I was about to do that what's it called, the Big Bang combo, where he just keeps slamming him in the face, and then suddenly the camera jerks over to the right, and it's like, hey, look, it's Gypsyros, and I'm like, okay, but the monster's currently down. I wanted to take advantage of that situation and pound him in the face with a hammer. It's like, look at Gypsyros, isn't he cute? I'm like, yeah, he's adorable. Can I have the camera, please? I need to get back to the. I hope Deshagama's still on the ground when I get. Okay, got the. Oh, Deshagama's about to punch me in the face. Nice. God damn it! It's like, oh hey, look, Gypsyros. I'm like, great. I didn't see Arkveld. I also didn't fight Gypsyros. I'm essentially just kind of. I didn't fight Raydao either. I'm just kind of saving that for the game, right? I don't really want to fight Arkveld or Raydao, or I'd rather experience them in the game proper. I've fought Chotacabra, the big frog monster, who's hilarious. I love him. The Graboid one, what is that called? Balahara, I think. Doshagama. Is there another one? I think that might be it. And I got thunderclapped by Raydao while I wasn't watching. I got thunderclapped in the back of the head by Raydao. just just got curb stomped. I wonder if Bob's. I haven't seen Bob. I don't know if he survived or not. But it was funny because it laid all of us out. I was in the middle of three Doshagamas, and all of us went flying. So it felt really nice that the Doshagamas took damage too. Um, let's see. Chaos says, my PC is a 9-year-old potato. To be fair, it was never intended to be a gaming PC. It can run Borderlands 2 at about 20 frames a second with everything turned down. Yeah, I when I played the beta last November, I was playing it on the PC. I did have to drop the settings down to mid, I think. Also, there was some graphical glitch with any texture that had some like specularity effect on it, like the shiny saliva that frog monster Chotacabra has. Also, like the whites of the character's eyes was just glitching out. I don't know if a shader failed to load properly or what was going on, but yeah, didn't run great on my PC last time I tried it. But from what I understand, the beta is a lot. I'm sorry, the benchmark tool is a lot closer to the final code, so it should be a pretty decent representation of how the game will actually run on your PC, the final product. But I'm gonna get PS5, so. And I'm probably going to use justify buying a $70 game by using $20 of your Patreon money, and I'll play it on stream, and that justifies using some Patreon money to subsidize the expensive game. I'm so smart. Streamers call him Chat O'Cabra. Chat O'Cabra. Why? Is there a I don't get it. Is it? Do I use the cat talk or people talk for the cats? I use I set it on people talk, although I don't really care for the voice. It's a little cartoony. I tried pitching it down a little bit. But if you pitch it down too much, it has a very artificial sound to it. So I saw a cutscene where I think it's the intro to the Chemetrice, not sure, it's the fire chicken, where apparently there's a bunch of felines being harassed by the big fire chicken, and your Palico, who can speak English, is like, we have to go save the felines, and he goes, meow, 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 feline sounds, and they're like, huh? Oh, meow, meow, meow. So I'm gonna leave it on people speak for a while, because I think him language switching to talk to his brethren is kind of adorable. But for now, I have it on people speak. Streams, Chatocobra. Oh, because it's, oh, I get, okay. All right, that makes sense. Not the funniest pun I've ever seen, but, you know, it works. Uh, Chaos says, I don't need a mega machine, but I would like to get a PC that could run my Steam library. Yeah, my PC's 4 or 5 years old now. Mine died right as the right at the end of the first year of the pandemic. So at the end of 2020, when no one could get graphics cards. So I ended up getting more power than I really probably would have had everything just been available, just because it was the only thing I could get. Um, so so my rig is still pretty decent, even though it's approaching 5 years old now. But yeah, it was a lot of the games I play are, you know, Trails of Cold Steel, which is over 10 years old now. So um, fireworks. Why are there fireworks? Um, so Ray Dow is mean. He reminds me of that bear in that one cartoon, which I've talked about before. And it is a quiet noise. I can't stand noise. You're making noise. There's one thing I hate. It's noise. I can't stand noise. Rockabye something. I forget the name of that cartoon, but it's always been one of my favorites. Just really funny. Um, so yeah, really excited for um, Monster Hunter Wilds. I think I've got Leslie looking the way I want her. Chaos says newer games I'll buy on console. The newest game in my Steam library are Borderlands, the pre-sequel, and Batman Arkham City, games that are fairly old at this point. So yeah, yeah, I'm not much of a. If I'm, yeah, the Trails games I play on PC, those are like some of the new. I mean, I did play Balatro. I think that came out last year. Um, so, but yeah, I'm not usually if it's a game that's really complicated or graphically taxing, or it's probably something I'd rather play on a console. One of the exceptions are probably going to be just the Trails games because I'm streaming those, so it's easier to just have them here. Um, I hope you don't have arachnophobia. One of the new monsters is a giant spider. Oh yeah, I don't. I used to own a tarantula, in fact. Um, uh, Lalabarina, with a big, that big spider with a flower for a butt, the rose butt spider. Oh, she's super cool. Um, the anime. One thing that Capcom does is just a fantastic job is monster design and animation. Just the way these things look and move is all they always knock that right out of the park. Um, what's Nursilla, I think, is returning. Some of the returning monsters are monsters I've never fought before, so that works out really well for me. I've never Gypsaros, I think, is from like the second game, so I've never fought Gypsar, and I never played for Ultimate, so yeah, I never fought Gypsaros. Nursilla, I've never fought. Um, I've played Try, 3 Ultimate, Worlds, Iceborne, and Rise. I didn't play Sunbreak. So yeah, Nursilla. Uh, so let's see, Nursilla. What was the other one I just said? Gypsaros, Yankutku. Never played, although I did play Yangaruga, who showed up in the. I think it was the scarred Yangaruga, which was in the Guiding Lands in Iceborne. Was that an Iceborne thing? I think it was an Iceborne thing. Maybe it was a world thing. I don't remember. The Guiding Lands in World slash Iceborne. Uh, who else? Let's see. Let's take a look real quick. Bu- 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 bu. All right, Rathalos. I've fought a Rathalos, plenty of Rathalos. If you've played Monster Hunter, you've fought a Rathalos. So Yankutku. Oh, Kongalala. Never played Kongalala or fought Kongalala. Rathian plenty of times. Gypsaros. Gravios I've never fought against, although Basarios was in Rise, so a baby Gravios I've fought. Nersilla, Gor Magdala, Gor Magala, I think is what it is. Never fought that one, although I think at least a variant of that was in Sunbreak, but I didn't play Sunbreak. And Blangonga, which looks kind of like Kongalala. I've never played that one either. So uh, there's 7 returning monsters that I've never fought before. So ends up working out really nicely for me. A lot of these monsters are going to be new. So Rathalos and Rathian, I've of course fought before. Let's see who else. Oh well, they just revealed that Mitsune is going to be in the first title update, and I fought her in Rise. So, but she's very cool. So. Oh, what's funny is there's an arachnophobia mode in Wilds that turns the spiders, with the exception of the large monsters like Nersilla and Lalabarina. Any of the smaller spiders and insecty things, any of the creepy crawly things, they turn into little gross slimy boogers that just kind of blob themselves across the screen. I don't know if that helps anybody or not, but it is a pretty funny visual. So, um, yeah. Jared says I like the water Mitsune. Yeah, very cool monster. Um, the one everyone's chomping at the bit for is good old Laggy from Try Ultimate. Or well, 3 Ultimate. Lagiacrus. No idea. That game wasn't voiced, so I have no idea how those monsters' names are pronounced. But yeah, I'd love to see. I'm more interested in new characters, but I like the old ones too. There's some of them I will never get tired of seeing. Like if you want to have Basil Geese in there, I will never say no to. Never say no to Basil Goose. I'll never say no to Devil Joe. I love those monsters. They're so much fun. Legacrius, I would not mind seeing again. But yeah, mostly I'm like, hey, new monsters, woo, new, right? So can't spell the name, so it's Water Dragon. Oh, so you were talking about Legacrius? Yeah, that is a super cool monster. And they set up that monster really well in Try, because you run into Legiacris very early in the game, and your characters are like, run, run away. You are not ready to fight that. Don't even try, just run. Let's see. I have 5 family and friends getting Wilds, which is odd because we rarely play the same types of games. Oh, neat. So yeah, I'll probably, so for the first Sunday of March, maybe we'll go through the front part of Wilds. I'm actually really interested in seeing how the game handles onboarding, because the games as they've progressed, when I started with Try, it's a game that for a new player, it's probably 4 or 5 hours before you even fight the first large monster, which was Great Jaggy. The first things you're like, oh, monster arm, I'm gonna get a big sword, I'm gonna hit things in the face. And it's like, no, you're gonna mine rocks and collect mushrooms. You got to learn the intricate little systems first, otherwise the game isn't gonna make any damn sense to you. And it's for new players who don't understand what the game is and how it's meant to be played. Oh, those early games are tough to get into. You have to want it. It's like, oh, I think I've got 20 minutes. I think I'll try Monster Hunter. It's like, oh, no, you'll bounce right off it. You have to commit. You gotta clear an evening. Get 4 or 5 hours and sit your ass down. Hopefully with a friend who's played it before, you know, to explain shit to you. Because I remember when I first played Monster Hunter Tri, I had no idea how the hell to actually use a barrel bomb, right? Because you have the large barrel bombs. I'm like, okay, and you set it down. I'm like, now what? Oh, well, throw a rock at it. Or you use the small barrel bombs, which actually have the fuse. So you were intended pretty much to just put a barrel bomb down, put the little one with the fuse on it next to it, and then run away. But to a brand new player, it's like, why doesn't the big one just have a fuse on it? Right? I don't understand how to use this. And the game doesn't tell you. It's just something you have to know. Later games, particularly starting with World, did a much better job at explaining how the game works, and how to play it properly. I think World's opening is too long without letting you really do anything. Um, Rise, I think, did a much better job at getting you into the action quicker, essentially by kind of locking out elements that you didn't need to know yet. They tried to make it so that you couldn't be confused by stuff because you didn't have access to it yet. So it tried to get you hunting early, but easing you into it. Just that's a let Monster Hunter ease it into you. It's like I don't think I want this game now. Um, so I'm really interested to check out the first 4 or 5 hours of Wilds and see how they handle that. Also, the game structures should be really interesting because in the prior games, you exist in a town, you select a quest, and then you load out of the town and into whichever environment you're doing your quest. And then you finish the quest and you load back into the town to pick a new one. In this one, you just walk out the town and into the wilds and go do whatever you're doing. So, really interested to see how they handle that. Is Alma just like a walking quest board? Does she just is she essentially a guild marm and she just kind of follows you around? It's like, here's all the quests. You don't have to go back to town to pick it. Just point in the book. I don't know. Really interested to see. I have played the demo, so I've seen what I would assume is the front of the game, where you start in a ship and then you jump off the ship and onto the bird taxi thing, and get chased by graboids, and then you go fight a chat Okabra, and then and it's a pretty interesting sequence because it's fairly fast paced. It's not as friggin' slow as World's opening. It introduces you to a bunch of characters and settings and concepts. It's got a much better grasp at the concept of economy of storytelling than some previous titles did. It's action packed and it's actually slowly teaching you stuff. Like the first thing it actually teaches you is left, right on the control stick, sure, but the slinger. You can grab things with your slinger and you can fire things with your slinger. You've got a slinger, grab things and fire them at monsters. Good thing to know, because otherwise people might completely forget they have that damn thing attached to their wrist. So really interested to see how they introduce concepts like the offset attacks and um, the wounds system and stuff. Yeah, really looking forward. Really looking forward to Wilds. Looking forward to Yakuza Like a Pirate too. Unfortunately, they're coming out at the same time, and I don't think I really want to flop back and forth between the games. I think I want to kind of stick to one and then do the other, because they're both, for me, they're both just sit down and play for a couple hours type games. So let's see. According to the previews, it's very slow if you're a Monster Hunter veteran. I imagine it's particularly slow if you're both a veteran and someone who isn't really interested in the story. Because from what I understand, some of it is kind of walk and talks. Like, you get on your bird and you walk across the plains and like, hey, there over to your right, you will see a herd of whatevers, and they are majestic and they are feeding their young, and it's I can imagine a bunch are like, oh my god, shut up, I just want to hit a monster with a stick. You know, but me, I like environmental storytelling, I like character, I like story, so as long as the characters aren't irritating. And I know some people were really irritated by, did she even have a name? Whoever your handler was in Worlds. I'm one of the fewer people, I suppose, who didn't mind the handler in Worlds. I thought she was spunky and fun. A bit archetypical, right? I mean, she was she's like, oh, I have a bottomless pit of a stomach. It's like, yeah, I never seen that character trait for your personality type before. But I found her fun. I know some people found her super annoying, but she didn't bother me. So Alma seems fine. All the other characters seem fine. Yeah, I'm glad she doesn't call you. Yeah, I understand that they can't record. The voice actor can't record every possible name you could have, so they have to call you something. And it's weird to call you Hunter, but she just kept calling you Pard in English. I don't know what she called you in Japanese, but she called you, hey Pard, as a short for Pardner. I guess it would be partner. I don't know. Yeah, that was like, please don't call me. Just don't talk to me. Don't call me that. But I didn't know what her name was either. So, all right, that's it for tonight. We'll get back to Trails of Cold Steel tomorrow, and see if we can get what chapter are we in? I think we're in chapter 6, and I think we're at a boss. So we'll beat a boss, and then probably sit through 2 hours of cutscenes, and then we've got a radio drama to read, and then maybe we'll get to do the fair, the student fair thing that they're doing. Um, all right, much fun. All right, I'm going to, I guess, eat the rest of this cookie, and I mean, not I don't. Yeah, I like junk food, but I'm not gonna eat that entire thing. Not sure what I'm gonna do with it all. But all right. Hope you all had a wonderful Valentine's Day and are enjoying whatever video games you're playing. And hope to see you all tomorrow for some Trails of Gold Steel. Till then, have a good night, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.